Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So, just 2 days after Locked and Loaded has gone live, and Bethesda are already looking ahead to the next update for Fallout 76, and we're getting a little tidbit today about the upcoming testing period for Steel Rain and the other features coming with it, which looks really, really cool, and I'm very, very excited to get my hands on. So, let's jump in and take a look, shall we? Okay, so we have a new Inside the Vault blog post and a little bit of news looking forward already after the launch of Locked and Loaded on Tuesday. Now, I've been having a lot of fun with that. Hope you guys have been as well. Looking forward to jumping back in again later. But we have a look forward to the upcoming playtesting period for the Steel Rain update, which is due probably at the end of July from the look of things. We'll get into it a bit more in a minute, but we've got a few bits and pieces here today in the blog post, which is pretty cool. So, we have welcome back to Inside the Vault. In case you missed it earlier this week, Locked and Loaded is now available. If you missed it, where have you been? And with it comes a whole load of new features, and we're sharing a look forward at our next update for the PTS. So, opening up with a reminder about the Locked and Loaded trailer. So, that's available on Bethesda Softworks' YouTube channel if you want to check it out there. And of course, I'm going to link this down below as usual if you want to find it on this particular article or have a peruse yourself. So a little reminder there about all the new stuff we've had. So obviously we've covered that, so not going to do it again and again. So if you do want to check those out, top corner as usual. So let's move on to the new stuff. Right, what's next for the PTS? Awesome. So yeah, already looking ahead, which is cool. We had a little bit of a rumour coming out from the community team over the last couple of days that this particular bit of news was coming, but cool to actually have the news in full here. So, even though Locked and Loaded has only been available for a few days, we're already looking ahead to our next round of updates for Fallout 76. We're planning to open the PTS in May, so that you can begin playtesting the Steel Rain update and share your feedback with us as early as possible before its official release this summer. Read on for an overview of new content and improvements we're planning to include in that update. So yeah, very quick to jump straight into this, but one of the continual pieces of feedback, I suppose, about 76 is longer playtesting periods are good. So, obviously Bethesda taking that on board and in full agreement, so that's what they're going for here. May is a pretty vague release window for it. I imagine it'll be at least a couple of weeks away yet before they get to it. Obviously, 1st of May being Sunday, I think. So, Saturday. So, plenty of time yet before then, but still, very, very cool to have a little bit of a heads up that this is coming. Definitely looking forward to trying some of this stuff out. So the other thing that sort of comes out of this, that they're looking ahead to the next round of updates already. It's probably worth mentioning Bethesda are generally working on the next 3 updates minimum at a time. They have a kind of rolling process for working on these things, otherwise we'd be waiting even longer between updates. So hence why they're on it already, but which is very cool. It bodes well for, hopefully anyway, for the update coming out on time, or at least based on its current schedule anyway, or what would appear to be its current schedule. So, first and foremost, we have a new quest line. Continue your adventures with Paladin Romani, Knight Xion, and Scribe Valdez during the Steel Rain quest line, which picks up immediately following the events of Steel Dawn. As to how immediately, might be a few days, might be a few weeks. Time in Fallout's always weird anyway. In the first year, if we look at the Pip-Boy calendar sort of date marker, that basically lasted about 18 months, so, you know. But find out where the story leads you next as you carry the Brotherhood banner through Appalachia, explore new locations, square off against new threats, and claim rewards along the way. So we've got a few little bits and tidbits of stuff that are left over from Steel Dawn as to what might be in here. Things like, obviously, the ongoing antagonism in that storyline. There's the super mutant threat, plus whatever else. We also know that the new vault introduced in the update 2 days ago will also feature in the storyline, so that should be quite interesting as well. I'm going to note here, though, that I'm not planning on playtesting the storyline ahead of time. I'm going to wait until it launches, as I did with Steel Dawn, and play that at the same time as you guys get your hands on it, or those of you who are not playtesting, obviously. Basically because I don't want to spoil it for myself. I'm looking forward to playing it as much as anybody else. I want to jump in at the same time everybody else does, and then you guys can get the same reactions at the same time as me, rather than me just having played it before, or spoiling it and showing it beforehand, which I also wouldn't want to do, so there is that. However, the story isn't the only thing in this particular update. We have legendary crafting, which I know a lot of us are excited for and waiting for, that is coming with the Steel Rain update, probably in July. With this update, you'll be able to use your workbenches and new crafting components called Legendary Cores to apply legendary upgrades to your items. You can do this to transform a normal item into a 1, 2, or 3-star legendary, increase the star ratings of existing legendary gear, reroll existing legendary items' attributes, or even downgrade its star rating if you want. For most things, can't imagine why you would. Possibly to reroll, maybe, but we'll have to wait and see when we get our hands on it. But for the most part, that means much more control over the RNG and much more focused rolls as well. It means if you're looking for that particular weapon or armor piece or whatever, you'll be able to control it more so that you're only rolling that piece of armor, which you can do with some of the stuff that came out with Wastelanders and is available through Vault 79. 79? You know the one I mean, right at the top of the Savage Divide, the one with the Secret Service in it. Either way, you can kind of do this to some extent already with those items. This is just going to extend it to everything, which is really, really cool. For those wondering as well, the 4-star Legendary update is scheduled for the winter, so probably December, maybe end of November, but that's when that's currently due to emerge, so alongside the follow-up, or the first follow-up to Steel Rain, which will be cool. Definitely looking forward to seeing what that is. It looks like it's going to have a Zayton theme. But the next thing that is in this particular PTS phase that will be coming up next month is Legendary Power Armor. Your favourite set of power armor is about to pack even more of a punch. In addition to weapons and normal armors, Legendary Upgrade System will also give you the ability to modify your individual power armor pieces with legendary attributes. So not a vast amount of information there. Basically, I think we can infer from this that it will work the same way as Legendary Crafting above, in that you'll use these new legendary cores to roll legendary attributes for your power armor. Obviously, there's a little bit of a balance question in there, because obviously power armor is significantly more defensive than regular armor. It's kind of the point. But obviously, it's not going to stack with regular armor, because as soon as you get into your power armor, off comes your regular armor. So the balance considerations shouldn't be a massive thing for them to sort out, so hopefully Bethesda will have that down. But nonetheless, that'd be very, very, very cool, especially for those people who prefer to play full power armor builds and basically wear it like a second skin. That'll mean you can actually take advantage of legendary armor, which presumably you wouldn't have been doing beforehand if you were always in power armor. So that's very, very cool. Complement your builds. Looking forward to giving that a little test. And Legendary Attributes update. So this is confusingly named, to say the least. The Wasteland is consistently mutating, producing new terrors to topple and challenges for you to overcome. Your gear should evolve too. So there's the key point. In Steel Rain Update, we are revisiting some of our legendary attributes to make a number of balance changes. We're also creating several all-new legendary attributes that offer your characters even more build variety through their weapons, armor, and power armor. So, short version, the existing options, the legendary effects that you can get on your gear, the whole explosive, two-shot, anti-armor, sentinels, cloaking, whatever you might want to pick depending on the piece of appropriate gear, they're going to get rebalanced, tweaked and tuned, and we're going to get some new ones. Presumably they'll take out some of the ones that never get used, because they never get used. So that would, at least I hope they will, because that would tighten up the RNG a little bit more, and we're generally in favour of that. There's a couple of points in the last update, Locked and Loaded, that actually tighten up the RNG a little bit as well, especially in and around daily ops, which is cool. Some of the older items have been shifted into a more common pool, so they'll drop more often, meaning you get a better bite at the new ones as well, so you haven't got such a big pool of rare items to pick from. So that's very, very cool. But yeah, new legendary attributes, we're definitely ready for that. It's well established what people use and what they don't. The meta is pretty fixed in place at the moment. Hopefully this will open up more options. There's definitely a few weapons and armor sets and things like that that are not particularly effective, so they don't tend to get used. And there is obviously, as we are well aware, a hard and fast meta at the moment. So definitely keen to see that sort of leveled out and flattened off a bit so that more options are available and are competitive as well. So hopefully this will work towards that. That should be very, very cool. In addition to everything mentioned above, the Steel Rain update will also kick off a brand new season, introduce a new scoreboard, and add some new rewards to Meat Week. If you own a PC copy of Fallout 76 through Bethesda, as per usual, we'd love to have you in the PTS as soon as it's available next month. Keep an eye on Fallout.com and follow Fallout's Twitter for additional PTS details, including a start date in the coming days. Cool, I missed that when I looked through this before. Start date in the coming days, that's cool. So Doesn't necessarily mean the actual start date will be that soon, but we'll be told what it's going to be fairly soon, so that's very, very cool. Obviously, I'll share that on social media and be talking about it probably in other videos as well as we go forward, so watch this space. I'll keep you updated as usual. Notification bell is your friend on that point, of course. So yeah, very, very cool. Getting into the Steel Reign stuff already. I know there's some open question as to how long the storyline will be and how much will be in there, how long it'll last. Steel Dawn obviously was a little underwhelming in its length. There are certainly options in there for more threads than there were in Steel Dawn. Obviously, Steel Dawn just sets things up. So with this being a continuation, there are more, as I say, threads that they can follow. So hopefully that means there'll be a bit more to it. I realise I'm being a tad optimistic maybe there. I wouldn't expect it to have been significantly expanded due to feedback from Steel Dawn. As I know it feels like it's been a long time, sort of, 5-6 months now. But when you factor in all the number of things about writing and encoding it and new locations and getting in voice actors and probably hiring Xion again to write some more music for it, that's actually not that quick a turnaround for it. And all of that's kind of clustered together. So any sizable improvements along those lines are likely to be a bit further off in the future. I suspect, just my hunch. But yeah, very, very cool. As to the actual launch date of Steel Dawn, Steel Reign rather, I do apologise. We don't have an official one yet, but I have speculated before, and I'm going to reiterate. If you look at the community calendar, which I'll throw up now, you can see the July set of weekend events on there have a double score weekend on the weekend ending the 26th. That's be Monday the 26th of July. In all likelihood, given the timing of that, 3 months out from the update we've just had, that double score weekend will probably be the last weekend of the current season, Season 4. And we know Steel Reign is bringing with it a new season, so my guess would be that Tuesday, the 27th of July, is probably the date they're aiming for the launch of Steel Dawn. Again, obviously Bethesda haven't said this officially, this is all speculation, but looking at what's there, this is, I think, the most reasonable guess that we can make at the moment. So it fits with everything else, and I suspect that's probably when they're going to be aiming for. So about a 3-month testing period is considerably longer than they usually go for, but definitely very cool, and hopefully it'll mean when the update does drop, it'll be in the best state it possibly can be. So, moving on from this, the last thing on the agenda for today is the weekend's It's a Gold Rush event. So, as usual, this is a double gold bullion for your treasury notes weekend. You would just say turn in twice as many treasury notes. They're not worth twice as much, but I'm sure we've built up a fair few doing events by now, especially with the new season kicking off. So, over this weekend, starting at 12 PM Eastern Time today, the 29th of April, running through till 12 PM Eastern Time on Monday, May the 3rd, that being 5 PM UK time, we can turn in twice the usual number of treasury notes and get back twice the amount of gold bullion for those of you who are still after gear from the Secret Service. So, very, very cool. Definitely something to take advantage of if you're logging in anyway to get those daily challenges done, which I know I will be, including later on this evening. So, on that joyous note, not a vast amount of detail and dates and stuff, but just a high-level overview of what's coming in the next PTS today. Very, very cool to hear. Really pleased to see they're jumping into the testing as soon as reasonably possible. It bodes well for how they think their development of the update is going as well, because if it just wasn't ready to hit the PTS, they wouldn't put it on the PTS. So it's obviously in a pretty solid playable state. I'm sure it'll have its issues that need working out. They always do. This is why we have a PTS. But good to see they're going to get like 3 months this time to test it rather than just a few weeks or anything like that. So that's always a good sign. More testing is better. Very, very happy about that. Very, very excited for the new Steel Dawn story content. I know, like many of you, I am ready and raring to go with some new quests and story to get my teeth sunk into. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. And of course, looking forward to legendary crafting and stuff as well, because that's going to be very, very cool. And tightening up that RNG. There's a few things that I definitely want, so if I'm still waiting on those by the time this rolls around, I'll be very, very happy to speed up the rate at which I can pick those up. Which reminds me, I really need to get on my Secret Service armor crafting, just as soon as I free up some room in my inventory anyway. So, yeah, very, very cool little update. We'll obviously bring you the extra details regarding dates and so on when Bethesda actually announce them, but looking forward to that. As I say, not going to play the story ahead of time. It is conceivable, incidentally, that legendary crafting might be tied to the Steel Dawn storyline, in which case I'll let you know, but that would mean I can't test it beforehand without having to play the story. It probably won't be, but that's not an impossibility, so something to bear in mind. But obviously, I'll update you on this as soon as I possibly can, and we'll be covering these new features as and when I get the opportunity, so do watch out for those videos. Speaking of, I do hope you found this video useful and informative. If you did, please do consider dropping subs and likes. It is very, very much appreciated. Consider hitting that share button as well if you know anybody else who might be interested as well. Very, very much appreciate the support in that regard. In addition to this, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can find links down below, along with links to channel memberships and the merch store as well, both of which I really, really appreciated. Massive thank you to everybody who's done that already. And if you get a chance, do join us for the live streams, as I say. We are playing a little more Fallout this evening, looking forward to jumping back into that, and carrying on with Remnant from the Ashes as well. So, good times to be had. But for now, massive thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.